Hi guys, my name is Trent and I've been with Superior for a total of 11 years now, and I specialize in leak detection. A lot of questions I get on leaks is, first thing to really start with is understanding your evaporation rates. So we get a lot of customers that are dealing with water loss in the summertime and they're just filling their pools. They're thinking that it's just evaporation. Well, pools should evaporate year-round, roughly around 1/4 inch a day. So if you're adding water in the summertime and you're thinking it's evaporation, there's a couple of 24-hour tests that we recommend. If you think it's evaporation or you think it's a leak in the summertime, it's critical to do a 24-hour test to determine that. So a lot of people will call in this time of the year to say, oh, my pool's been losing water all summer. We thought it was evaporation, when actual evaporation rate in the summertime is about 1/4 inch. Now, as we get into the wintertime and we're transitioning from, say, fall to winter, and we still have some warm 70-degree days, there's going to be some times when your pool water is a lot hotter than the ambient temperature. And at that point, we are going to see possibly a little bit more than 1/4 inch of evaporation, because your water is warmer than the air temp, therefore there is a little bit more evaporation. So that's one thing you may encounter. As far as the summertime, roughly 1/4 inch. So if you think you have a leak, do the 24-hour test. In the fall, if you're into a situation where you're losing just a little over 1/4 inch, you could do a bucket test, which basically you would set a bucket on, say, a first step in your pool and have your bucket weighted, but you're going to tape the inside of the bucket and have your water level roughly the same as the pool water level. That way it's the same temperature. So tape your bucket on the inside, tape your pool on the tile line, and then also make sure your autofill device or irrigation system is turned off if you do have a fill on your pool. And then from there, compare your bucket 24-hour test with your pool and see what the difference is there. If you've got quite a bit of a difference there with loss in the pool, then you can say, yeah, there is water loss at that point. And at that point, you probably need to do one more 24-hour test, possibly with it on or off, depending on which one you did. And then from there, call the office, get on the schedule, we'll come out and we'll do a full leak detection. Just wanted to demonstrate real quick how we set up a bucket test. Start with a bucket, and we will come over and fill our bucket up, and we'll set it on a, for instance, this is a tanning ledge. We'll set it on a tanning ledge, or if you have possibly a top step roughly about this depth, we can achieve the bucket test. How much do you need to fill in the bucket? We just need enough water in it to keep the bucket stable, to keep it from pushing off, say, the tanning ledge here, or possibly a top step. So just make sure it's nice and stable. I've got roughly, 6 inches of water above water level. But the thing is about the bucket test, we just want to make sure that it's full and that it doesn't move, and we want it in the water. That way we can kind of get a more real evaporation rate on our pool water. After we've set the bucket, we get our piece of tape and we mark the water line. Once it's settled, we'll mark the water line in the bucket, and then from there, that's our setup on our bucket. So after we've set our bucket and the water's stable, we can now tape the water line. We take a piece of tape, and I've rolled this piece of tape over, I've dated the piece of tape, and we're gonna take that bottom piece of tape, we're going to tape it to the inside on the side of the bucket, and the bottom of the tape is going to touch the water level. I'll do it so. Okay, now that the bottom of the tape is touching the water level, this is going to be normal evaporation in our pool. We may see 1/4 inch, we may see a little less, we may see a little bit more, depending on the time of the year. But this should be roughly the same as the water loss in the pool. If it's not and it's more, then you may have a leak. So after we've set our bucket, taped our water level on our bucket, we're going to do basically the same thing on our pool tile. So first things first, we need to make sure, if we have an autofill or a fill device, we need to make sure that it's turned off. And then from there, we'll tape our tile line. Again, I used a piece of tape. I rolled over the bottom just to make a straight edge. We've dated the tape again, and the bottom of this tape right here is going to touch the water level. I'm going to put it right on the tile. Okay, so our pool's taped and our bucket's taped. We're ready for a 24-hour test. All right, guys, we are following up on our first 24-hour test. It's been roughly 24 hours. So we're gonna examine the water loss in the bucket, which is gonna be our evaporation, and we're also gonna examine the water loss in the pool. So first thing we'll do is we'll just check the bucket, and the bucket is our evaporation rate. So I see that today in 24 hours, we've lost roughly a 1/4 inch of water. So now we gotta inspect the pool tape level. Has it lost a 1/4 inch or has it lost more? So inspecting the water level in the pool, I see that the pool has lost about 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit more. At this point, that's a little bit over evaporation. So now that we've completed the first 24-hour test, we can move on to the second 24-hour test. And now we'll do the same thing, reset our tape levels, make sure water level's back at the mid-tile, and then we will do the 24-hour test with the equipment off. Checking in on our 24-hour test, and we've set a bucket, we taped it, and we also taped the water level in the pool. So let's check out our bucket first. All right, bucket is normal evaporation, and right now we've got roughly a 1/4 inch. So now let's inspect the pool tape. Pool tape has lost about 1/2 inch, which is double the evaporation, which at that point means there is some type of water loss here.